This video is going to cover creating workflows in CallRail. So a workflow in CallRail is basically, as it says here, it's going to determine where your callers are routed when they call your tracking numbers. We just went over creating numbers. Now we're going to go talk about what we're going to make happen when those numbers are dialed. A lot of different steps you can add. You can build something completely blank. You can create a flow that just sends people straight to voicemail. Um, you can create a flow here that plays a greeting when they call, like you've all heard when you've called any business. Then it routes your call to your phone, and then if you don't answer, then it sends it to a voicemail message. We talked about recording those messages and whatnot earlier as well. This one will play a greeting, and then it's going to set people up with a menu where they can choose 1, 2, 3, 4 through 9. And then based on the number that they pushed, a second step will happen. And that's something you can get real specific with as well. Simu call, we kind of covered that a little bit already. Basically, the call comes in, plays a greeting, brings whatever phone numbers you want it to, and then if no one answers, it goes to voicemail. The schedule dial voicemail, basically what this means is that your call is going to come in, and based on the time of day that that call comes in, it's going to dial certain numbers. So if you want it to go to someone from 9 to 5, you have it go there, and from 5 to whatever other time you want, you can choose it to go there. Obviously, if no one answers, you can also send it to a voicemail. The lead center call queue is part of the system that we do not use. It's an additional cost, and we don't really need it. For this video, what I'm going to do is I'm going to show you how to build a fully custom call flow based on whatever you want to do. And during that process, we'll go into detail about all the options that are available. So let's get started. This is going to be a little bit longer video, so get ready, take notes, whatever you need to do. So first thing you're going to do is you're going to start your call flow, and we're going to go test call flow and give it a name, and we'll put the W in there. So that here we record all of our calls. We're in the great state of Tennessee, so we are a one-party notification state. We do not have to notify anybody if we're recording our conversations. So the first thing we need to decide is, what do you want to happen first? Do you want it to play a greeting? You can have a pre-recorded message, which sounds a little corny.
This call will be recorded for quality assurance.
Or you can play a recording. You can choose a recording. You can upload a recording. You can create a recording. And you can also manage a recording. So that's if you're going to have it do a greeting. So say we don't want to do that. We'll delete that step. You can just have it forward a call straight to a phone number. So you can forward calls to a number, and you can pick a number. You can just type in any phone number that will work. You can do a number, and you can also do a example here that they have in there, but we're not going to use that. We'll just say a number. If you choose, you can click this to prevent voicemails and automated systems from answering calls that come in. But if you look here, what happens is when the call comes in and you answer it, it says press 1 to connect to the caller. Or if you do nothing, the call will go through the remaining steps and the caller doesn't hear that message. So I always prevent voicemails. Then you can determine how long it's going to be, between 5 to 60 seconds before the caller goes to the next step. So let's say I want it to dial, or well, dial isn't really the first step that I would have. So let's make something a little bit more interesting. Simu call. Okay. So we'll forward calls to a number, or we can forward them to Sorry, my things running a little slow. So another thing that's cool here is this with the SimuCall. If a caller has previously called, you can choose to route them to the number that answered the phone last time they called. And again, you can choose how long that you want it to be before the next step happens. So let's say we did 60 seconds. So SimuCall comes in, your first step, nobody answers. You can choose a next step. Next thing we're going to look at here is round robin. The way the round robin works is like this. So say for instance, you have a few different phone numbers here that you want. Put in the dash. I think it's recognizing that's not a real phone number. Come on, buddy. There it goes. So you can put in two different numbers, and what will happen is that the call is going to ring for 20 seconds. We're going to keep voicemails from answering it, and then you can choose to route calls using a weighted distribution, which means that you assign a weight as a ratio to determine what percentage of calls are routed to each number. So, oops, let's get that to pop back up so you can see that. If you also selected route previous callers, this option only applies to new. So if you choose weighted distribution, you can say I want this phone number to get 80% of the calls, or 75%, or 83. You can kind of choose how much volume goes to this number, how much volume goes to this number here. Now, if no one answers, don't try any other numbers before. You can say try the next number, try the next two numbers, whatever the case is. So say for instance it's weighted. Call comes in, and number one, who's getting the majority of the calls, isn't able to answer at that time. Then that call will go to call number two. So say you have a more experienced person answering here, and then if they're not able to answer, then it'll go over to this person in this situation. If not, then it'll go there. But as it noted here, that if you have this checked, the weighting will only be applied to new callers. We'll look at the menu. We're just going to break this down like this. Maybe we won't create a whole process. So you can have it say press 1 for sales, press 2 for support, or whatever applies to your business. If they press 1, then they get forwarded to sales. If they press 2, then they get forwarded to support. You can either read message, or you can have it play a recording of your choice. So if the caller presses 1, whatever, does nothing, set everything up there so that you can add options here. You can say presses 3. So you see how you have these little lines here. We're down here on this one, forward to support. Then what happens there is you go, okay, dial, and then you create a step there, and you just put your support number. So when they press 2, it's going to go to that phone number. If you go to forward to sales from here, then you can say insert a step, and you'll have dial this number. Okay. Now then if you go to 3, you can say I want it to dial this number. So you have all those set up there, and if you go back to this, and my internet was a little faster, you'll see that that support is there. When we click on sales, that number's there. Now, if these calls aren't answered, you can also choose to set up calls based on a schedule. And what this does is similar to the way that was set up. So you can say any day, you can say weekdays, weekends, or pick a day of the week between as an option here, all day between, say between 12 a.m. and 11 p.m. You can add times, you can add a scheduled branch. So you can, a scheduled branch is basically this. So say if you had any day between 12 a.m. and 11 p.m., any day between let's again, if anybody knows of any valid options for reliable internet in the country, please let me know. So you can say between 11:05 and 11 or 11. I need that to go PM over there, but 11. Where's my 11 PM? There it is down at the bottom. 55. Then I'll get this one over there. Get that down at night there. So now what will happen is, based on whatever you choose down here, who it to dial, say any day of the week between 11:05 p.m. and 11:55 p.m., a call comes in, it's going to do this. But any day during the week between 12 a.m. and 11 p.m., it'll do X. And that's how scheduling works. And you can create as many branches as you want. And then you also can decide what you want to happen any other time that isn't in a scheduled branch like that. So here, a keypad entry, what you do is say, plays a recording and tells them, please enter your account number or whatever it is that you want them to enter, and press pound. So if this section here is for callers, so if they want to, you want them to be able to just press pound and skip entering the code, they can do that. You can also say, what is my prompt? Is they need to enter 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and if they do, it'll do whatever you tell it to do next. Another way you can customize your workflows by adding a tag. So if they get all through all that stuff, you can apply a tag to it that you've created already. You can also send the call to voicemail, and you can do that using a message that the computer reads, or you can choose a recording. Let's get back over here. So there we go there. So it goes to voicemail. Let's get rid of this voicemail step. There. And you can also choose if you want to just straight up have it hang the phone up, and it'll do that. You save that. So say, for instance, we're going to go back up here to the top of our very lengthy phone call flow and save it. Okay, there's errors. Let me find them. So we're going to make this real simple. We're going to create a blank call flow. And we're going to have a dial a phone number. Get in there. So there we go. We're not going to name it. We're just going to show you what happens when you save it. Save and activate. Yes. So when you do save and activate a call flow, the next thing you need to do is, you obviously have created it for some reason, is assign it to a tracking number. So you can say, I'm going to assign it to this number, this number, this number, or this number, or you can skip that. So now you just have a call flow that's hanging out there. It's not assigned to anything, and it lets you know, it's not used by any numbers. Go over here and you can just delete that too. We'll get rid of it. That way we don't have that confusing the mess. This is a kind of long video, but there's a lot of stuff here. A lot of different options. Most of the time this will be something, if you're working for me, that we'll have a conversation about and say we need to create a new call flow, and this is where you need to go. and I'll give you the details on, you know, what it is that I'm looking for. Won't just leave you hanging dry. All right, so we're going to wrap this video up and we'll move on to the next one.